Everyone talks about hitting that magic retirement number. Maybe it's $1 million, maybe it's 3 million, but here's what nobody tells you. The same exact portfolio can give you completely different lifestyles, depending on three things most financial advisors never talk about. And if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, there are additional factors that can either devastate your retirement or actually make it stronger than you think. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what income a $1 million, $2 million, and $3 million portfolio can realistically provide. And I'm going to show you strategies that let you spend more in early retirement without running out of money. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're LGBTQ, you're statistically starting this race from behind. LGBTQ adults earn about 90 cents for every dollar the average worker makes. For trans women, that drops to just 60 cents on the dollar. Over a 30-year career, that wage gap means hundreds of thousands of dollars less going into your 401k. And when you factor in the safety premium, living somewhere you can actually be yourself, traditional retirement calculators completely miss the mark. They're not accounting for the fact that your expenses might be higher and your lifetime earnings lower through no fault of your own. But here's the good news. Once you understand these factors, you can plan around them. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The traditional math. Let's start with someone retiring at 62 with a $1 million portfolio. Using the traditional safe withdrawal rate of 4.7%, that gives you $47,000 per year from investments. Add in Social Security, let's say $1,800 per month or about $21,600 annually. And you're looking at roughly $69,000 per year in total income. That's solid. It's comfortable for many parts of the country. But here's the problem. If you're living in San Francisco, Seattle, or another high-cost affirming city, $69,000 doesn't stretch nearly as far as it would in rural Tennessee. Your rent alone might eat up $30,000 to $40,000 of that. The solution: declining spending models. Here's where it gets interesting, and this is the first major strategy I promised you. Almost every piece of retirement research shows that spending naturally declines as you age, typically by 1 to 2% per year in real terms. You're more active in your 60s than your 80s. You travel less. You eat out less frequently. If you accept this reality and plan for it, you can start with a much higher withdrawal rate. Instead of 4.7%, you could withdraw 5.5% in year one if you're planning for a 1% annual spending decline. That bumps your portfolio income to $55,000, giving you a total of $77,000 per year right out of the gate. Expect a steeper 2% decline. You could start at a 6.2% withdrawal rate, $62,000 from your portfolio, $84,000 total with Social Security. But here's the critical part. This only works if you actually reduce your spending over time. By year 10, that $84,000 drops to around $72,000. By year 30, you're down to about $56,000. The key insight? Your Social Security acts as a stabilizer, so your total spending isn't dropping by the full 1 to 2%, just the withdrawal from your portfolio is declining. One more thing worth noting. If you don't have family support, and statistically, queer people are more likely to be estranged from family of origin, you might need to keep your emergency fund slightly higher than traditional advice suggests. That chosen family safety net is real, but it works differently than having parents. You can call for a $10,000 loan. Now, that $1 million scenario is powerful, but what if you want to retire early, like in your 50s? The traditional advice says you need to be way more conservative, but I'm about to show you a strategy that lets you spend $100,000 a year from age 55 to 62. Then increase your income when Social Security kicks in. It's called the two-bucket strategy, and it's especially powerful for couples who've been building wealth together. Let's look at someone stepping away from work at 55 with a $2 million portfolio. No Social Security until 62. 7 years to self-fund, the traditional, boring approach. Most planners would tell you to use a 3.5% withdrawal rate during those bridge years. That's $70,000 per year. Not bad, but maybe not enough for your most active, healthiest decade. The two-bucket power move. Here's where it gets exciting. Instead of treating $2 million as one big pot, split it into $2 million buckets with two completely different strategies. Bucket 1, the Early Retirement Lifestyle Fund. $1 million set aside. It only needs to last 7 years, not 30, because the time horizon is so short. Research from Morningstar shows you can withdraw 8 to 12% annually. Let's use 10% withdrawal, which is $100,000 per year from ages 55 to 62. This is intentional. This bucket funds your travel, your flexibility, your highest standard of living during your healthiest years. You withdraw $100,000 at the start of each year. The remainder stays invested, earning around 7% annually. By age 62, you'll still have roughly $680,000 left in this bucket. Bucket 2, the Long-Term Security Fund. The second $1 million stays completely untouched until 62. Growing at 7% annually, it becomes approximately $1.6 million by age 62. This money supports your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. At 62, Social Security kicks in, let's say $2,000 per month or $24,000 annually, thanks to higher lifetime earnings. Now you have $680,000 from Bucket 1 and $1.6 million from Bucket 2 for a total of $2.28 million. Apply different withdrawal rates to this $2.28 million. At 4.7%, it's $107,000 from portfolio and $24,000 Social Security, which equals $131,000 per year. At 5.5%, it's $125,000 from portfolio plus $24,000 Social Security, which equals $149,000 per year. At 6.2%, it's $141,000 from portfolio plus $24,000 Social Security, which equals $165,000 per year. You're actually making more at 62 than you were in early retirement, and you've protected your long-term security. Those numbers are powerful, but now I want to show you what happens when you've built serious wealth. We're talking $3 million in investable assets. This is where things get truly interesting, because at this level, the biggest threat isn't running out of money. It's actually something called the widow's penalty and RMDs that could force you to take out more than you even want. Let's bring in another key data point. Married households typically have higher combined incomes and greater wealth building capacity. Statistically, the vast majority of people with $3 million in investable assets are married couples who've been building together for decades. For this example, let's look at a married couple retiring at 62. Combined Social Security between two spouses with strong earnings histories. Spouse 1, $2,300 a month. Spouse 2, $1,700 a month. Combined, $4,000 a month or $48,000 a year. Portfolio income. Using our $3 million portfolio, traditional 4.7% withdrawal, $141,000 from the portfolio plus $48,000 Social Security equals $189,000 a year, flat for life. But if we use realistic spending decline models at 5.5% with 1% annual decline, year 1, $165,000 plus $48,000 equals $213,000. Year 10, $151,000 plus $48,000 equals $199,000. Year 30, $122,000 plus $48,000 equals $170,000. At 6.2% with 2% annual decline. Year 1, $186,000 plus $48,000 equals $234,000. Year 20, $122,000 plus $48,000 equals $170,000. Year 30, $102,000 plus $48,000 equals $150,000. You start high when you're most active, then naturally taper. This mirrors actual retiree behavior. Here's what most YouTube finance videos skip, but it's absolutely critical at higher wealth levels. Taxes can destroy your retirement if you're not careful. Social Security taxation. Many assume Social Security is tax-free. It's not. For married couples, once your combined income crosses $44,000, up to 85% of your Social Security becomes taxable. at $180,000 to $230,000 in income. You're well above that threshold. That doesn't mean you pay 85% tax. It means 85% of your Social Security is included in taxable income. RMDs, the forced withdrawal, at age 73, required minimum distributions kick in. The IRS forces you to withdraw money from traditional IRAs and 401ks, whether you need it or not. With a $3 million portfolio, your RMDs could easily be six figures alone. That gets stacked on top of Social Security and any other income. You could find yourself in a higher tax bracket in your 70s than you were during your working years. The widow's penalty. This is especially brutal. When one spouse dies, the survivor has to file as single. That means the same income pushes them into much higher tax brackets. Let's say your household makes $180,000. Married filing jointly, you're comfortable. As a single filer, you're getting crushed with taxes. The solution: Roth conversions in your 50s and 60s. This is where strategic planning in your 40s to 60s pays off massively. Before RMDs begin, and while both spouses are alive, you may be in your lowest tax bracket. This is the window to do Roth conversions, intentionally moving money from traditional retirement accounts to Roth accounts. You pay taxes now at, hopefully, a lower rate, then that money grows tax-free forever. Your heirs, whether that's a spouse, chosen family, or the LGBTQ plus organizations you care about, inherit it completely tax-free. Why this matters for our community. If your estate plan includes leaving money to chosen family rather than blood relatives, Roth accounts are powerful. Your best friend or your nephew doesn't have to deal with the tax complexity. The money is just theirs, tax-free. Also, if you're planning to leave a legacy to LGBTQ plus nonprofits, the Trevor Project, Sage, Lambda Legal, whoever matters to you, that tax-free money goes further. One more trap: IRMAA, income-related monthly adjustment amount. When you turn 65 and enroll in Medicare, your premiums are based on your income from 2 years prior. Cross certain income thresholds and your premiums skyrocket, potentially thousands extra per year. This is why that Roth conversion strategy, managing capital gains, and using smart withdrawal sequencing matters. It's not just about income tax, it's about controlling Medicare costs for the rest of your life. Let's bring this all together. At $1 million, you're looking at $69,000 to $84,000 annually, depending on your withdrawal strategy. Comfortable, but you need to be strategic about location and spending. At $2 million with the two-bucket strategy, $100,000 a year in your 50s, then $130,000 to $165,000 at 62 and beyond. This is where options open up. At $3 million, starting income of $189,000 to $234,000, maintaining very strong income even with planned spending declines. The challenge shifts from will I have enough to how do I avoid tax traps? The pattern is clear. Every million doesn't give you the same retirement. The first million buys you safety, the second million buys you options, the third million buys you freedom. I mentioned the safety premium at the start. Let's come back to that. Yes, it's true that many of us pay extra to live in affirming places. That's real. But here's what's also true. We often build stronger financial habits because we have to. Without family safety nets, we learn to save aggressively. Without the option to coast, we build resilience. The discrimination we face forces us to be more intentional with money. And chosen family, it's not just emotional support. It's financial interdependence that can be just as powerful as traditional family structures, sometimes more so because it's built on choice and trust rather than obligation. So yes, factor in the safety premium, but don't let anyone tell you it's a disadvantage you can't overcome. Now here's what you need to do next, because understanding these numbers is only step one. The next critical piece is figuring out your specific target number based on your lifestyle, your location, and your goals. I've got a complete breakdown waiting for you on estate planning for LGBTQ plus couples and individuals. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see is people building great portfolios but failing to protect them legally. Click right here for that video. It covers wills, powers of attorney, protecting your chosen family, and making sure your partner or the people you care about actually get what you've worked so hard to build. don't skip this part. A great retirement plan without the right legal documents is like building a house without a roof. I'll see you in that video.